15 minutes,
Huh?
but 15 minutes, but if she's more than that, she'll just say.
Sure, let us know.
If she said 15 minutes, she'll have to do it.
Okay. I know. You always got to be prepared for the unexpected. That's the hard thing. Like you don't need to wait for that. To get that change. Because that highlights it. You can say only one has a certain thing. It could be two. It's a better sell than 16. Okay. You didn't hear me?
No.
You were right. Weren't you? The viewers zoned into the band. Oh, my son's home from barbecue. He's all excited. He got this new grill. It's electric. Yeah, it's called a Blackstone. It's the coolest thing. So he barbecued on Father's Day. So he's like, I'm gonna make dinner tomorrow. I said, I have a meeting. So usually I don't get home. So all right, I'll start barbecuing at 7:30. And I was like, oh, I think it might be a little later than that. Yeah, but kind of show us when it comes time. Do you mind? Like so. Oh, no. Thank you. So you're ready for the meeting? Don't be late. Be fine for extra. Refreshing. Yeah. Keeps you on your toes. One of your hands is monumental, actually. How monumental. Commissioner, letting me safely.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, sorry about that, guys. As long as you're safe. Okay.
Test. Time is 6:40. We'll call the meeting to order. Director Palumbi, can you do a roll call?
I will do, Commissioner, thank you, I will do a roll call. Let the record reflect Commissioner Al-Qassanian has indicated he would be absent from today's meeting. So with that said, Commissioner Cuevas? Here. Commissioner Franco?
Here.
Commissioner Lomelli?
Present.
We have a quorum. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Commissioner Cuevas, can you do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. Everyone, please stand. Raise the flag. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Director Palumbi, can you do the, what is it?
Yes.
Correction of agenda?
Yeah, there are no corrections to the agenda for tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we please read the statement of oral communication?
Sure thing. Good evening, Commissioners. Members of the public are allowed to address the Planning Commission on any items listed on tonight's agenda. Anyone wishing to address the Commission on an item not listed on the agenda may do so during the public comment period. Members of the public wishing to speak or provide public comments during tonight's Planning Commission meeting can submit a public speaker card requesting to speak prior to the start of the public comment period. The maximum time allotted for members of the public to address the Planning Commission shall not exceed 3 minutes per person. Thank you. To confirm, we do have speaker cards for, I believe, item 3. So with that said, we could, I believe we can move to the next staff communication. And there are no communications from staff, which takes us to the reorganization.
Okay, thank you.
So with that said, before moving into the agenda for tonight's meeting, it would be appropriate to proceed in formally selecting the chair of the Planning Commission pursuant to the Montebello Municipal Code. It has been the commission's standard past practice to nominate the chair, the commissioner that's appointed by the sitting mayor. In this case, that would be Commissioner Franco. So at this time, I would open it up for nominations. That would be.
Do we have to make a nomination or? Okay. So as to stay in line with the policy, I would nominate Commissioner Edward Franco for the chair position.
I will second that.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Franco, do you accept the nomination?
I do, thank you.
Perfect. So I will take a roll call. Commissioner Cuevas?
Aye.
Commissioner Lomeli?
Aye.
Commissioner Franco?
Aye,
Chair, congratulations.
thank you.
Just to be clear, the same process is used to select the vice chair. Considering Commissioner Alakasani is not present tonight, I think we will continue that to the next meeting, if that's okay with the commission.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Chair, the floor is yours, and it would be appropriate to call for a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting that was held on May 3rd, 2022.
If we can,
I will motion to approve the minutes for May 3rd of 2022.
I'll second that.
I believe the city, can we get some guidance, because obviously Chair Franco wasn't present, so.
Right, so the chair can excuse or abstain from voting, and we still have two commissioners present today. With 2 votes, we should be able to secure the minutes.
Perfect.
So we have a first and a second, and then just a roll call again.
Easy roll call. Commissioner Cuevas?
Aye.
Commissioner Lomeli?
Aye.
And the record reflect that Chair Franco abstains from that. That is approved, thank you. On to public hearing. So,
we'll open up the public hearing.
yes, Commissioners, item 2 on tonight's agenda is a request from the Cesar Chavez Foundation for a tentative parcel map to consolidate 5 existing parcels into 1 parcel to create a development diagram for the subject property in connection with a larger residential development project that was approved in November of 2021. Our planning manager, Monica Mercado Rodriguez, will be presenting on behalf of the city. Thank you.
So good evening, members of the Planning Commission and the public. So the item before you is a request to consolidate 5 existing parcels into 1 parcel to allow the development of a previously approved 63-unit multifamily affordable housing project located at 112 through 132 South 6th Street. Next slide. So the slide before you is an aerial map of the project site as presently developed, which encompasses a total of 5 parcels located at 112 through 132 South 6th Street. The majority of the project site is a vacant land, with one of the parcels currently developed with a single-family unit. The proposed vesting tentative tract map, or parcel map, would allow the consolidation of 5 parcels into 1. Next slide. So on March 24th, 2022, Lauren Kwan Madrid, on behalf of the Cesar Chavez Foundation, filed a vesting tentative parcel map application to allow the consolidation of the 5 parcels into 1 parcel for the project site. On that same day, staff issued a deemed complete letter. Next slide. So the entitlements associated with this project include a vesting tentative parcel map with the conditions to permit the consolidation of 5 parcels into 1. Next slide. The project site is surrounded by commercially zoned properties to the north, east, and west. The properties to the south and east of the project site are zoned R3 multifamily residential zone. Okay. The general plan designation of the immediately surrounding land uses include general commercial and medium density residential. Next slide. So the slide before you is the proposed tentative parcel map as a result of the requested lot consolidation. So if approved, the lot dimensions of the final parcel map would be approximately 256 feet in length by 135 feet in width. Next slide. The proposed vesting tentative parcel map is considered a project and considered exempt by the common sense rule under the California Environmental Quality Act. Next slide. So on June 9, 2022, the public hearing notice was mailed to owners within the 300-foot radius from the exterior boundaries of the subject property. On that same day, the public hearing notice was published in the Daily Journal. Next slide. Based on the information presented today and as provided in the staff report, staff recommends that the Planning Commission consider adopting Resolution Number 08-22, approving vesting tentative parcel map with conditions and finding that the CEQA common sense exception to be acceptable to the proposed project. This concludes my presentation. Staff and the applicant are available for questions.
And Chair, if I may, for the record, just note that we did receive a comment letter today from Ms. Courtney Welch, and in summary, basically, she is with the California Renters Legal Advocacy and Education Fund, and she just submits this letter in support of the project. And this letter has been provided to you earlier today, so you have it.
Thank you.
Do we know if the applicant is present or wishes to provide a presentation? Seeing nobody.
I believe it was going to be Christopher.
My name is Christopher Ming Holding with United Civil. I'm the civil engineer preparing this tentative parking lot on behalf for Cesar Chavez Foundation. And if there's any questions, please let me know. I'll be willing to answer.
I have no questions at this time.
Okay. I think it would be appropriate to close the public hearing at this time, Chair.
We can close the public hearing.
Ask for dialogue, Commissioners.
Any questions, Commissioners?
I don't have any questions at this time.
Just a comment for me, thank you. The item before us has, although it does involve the development of a multi-residential complex, the item before us is only to consolidate the spaces, lots that are going to then be used to build that complex in question.
That's
Thank
correct.
you.
If I may, sure. That is correct, Commissioner Cuevas. This request would, I believe there are 5 existing lots. Those 5 lots would be consolidated to create basically development pad for the project that was previously approved.
Thank you.
We have a motion.
Okay, I will make a motion to adopt a resolution approving BTPM number PC 2022-010-VTPM. There's a second part.
Do we have a second?
I see 2 environmental exemption to be applicable. Would it be 2 items under the item number 2? Or is this?
Commissioner Lomeli, if you want, you can just pass a motion to adopt the resolution as presented by staff. And that
Okay.
should cover the
Okay.
extent of the resolution.
Perfect. So I will recommend that we motion to approve the item number 2 as recommended
presented
by the staff.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
I will take roll call. Commissioner Cuevas?
Aye.
Commissioner Lomeli?
Aye.
Chair Franco?
Aye.
Item 2 is approved. Thank you. So this takes us to item number 3. Item 3 is a request from Sizzler Restaurant located at 1908 West Beverly Boulevard to allow the sale and dispensing of beer and wine for on-site consumption in connection with an existing restaurant. Michael Donovan will provide a presentation on behalf of the city. And Michael, do you know if the applicant is present and wishing to provide a presentation? Okay, thank you.
Hello? There we go. All right. Good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Commission, and the public. The item before you today is for case number PC-2022-0011-CUP and environmental number 14-22-CE. The request is to allow the on-sale dispensing of beer and wine within a bona fide restaurant, Sizzler, located at 1908 West Beverly Boulevard. Next slide. So the property is located in the northeast corner of Beverly Boulevard between North 20th Street and North 19th Street. The lot is approximately 14,126 square feet. That's 0.32 acres, with a building area of 4,570 square feet, and it has a current use as a restaurant. Next slide. Just a brief background. On May 10th of 2022, Sizzler USA restaurant, the applicant, filed an application to allow the on-sale dispensing of beer and wine at the existing restaurant located at 1908 West Beverly Boulevard. Next slide. For project overview, conditional use permit. This is a conditional use permit with conditions to permit the on-sale dispensing of beer and wine. That's a Type 41 license at the existing restaurant, which has been occupied since 1967 at that site. The use of the premise will not be altered, and the addition of alcohol sales is requested as an incidental use. Next slide. The project site is located within the C2 zone. It's general commercial and has a land use designation of boulevard commercial. The surrounding zones are C2 to the east and west, C2 to the north, and both C1 and R1 to the south. The project site abuts a commercial property to the west consisting of a medical imaging center, health clinic, and insurance company. The properties to the east of the project site are currently occupied by office-type uses, and the project site abuts an apartment complex to the north, and across the street to the south is a church. Next slide, please. So before you use the site plan of the property, as previously mentioned, the site is approximately 14,126 square feet with a building area of approximately 4,570 square feet. The total available off-street parking count is 19 spaces. As mentioned, no work is being proposed on the interior or exterior of the building. Next slide. So here's the existing floor plan of the restaurant that shows the dining area with 158 seats. The restaurant will not have a bar area. The hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Saturday to Sunday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Next slide. So the project site is located in Census Tract 5302.03, which permits 3 on-sale type licenses and 2 off-sale type licenses. Census Tract number 5302.03 currently has 6 on-sale type licenses and 2 off-sale type licenses. If approved, the CUP does not guarantee that the applicant will receive an alcohol license from the state. But as the sole alcohol licensing enforcement agency, ABC will ultimately determine the appropriate license types and requirements at the proposed site. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry. So for the environmental review, for case number PC 2022-0011-CUP, it's considered a project per the California Environmental Quality Act and is categorically exempt from CEQA per Class 1 of Section 15301, existing facilities. Next slide, please. For the public notification on June 8th of 2022, the public hearing notice was mailed to all property owners within a 300-foot radius from the exterior boundaries of the subject property. On June 9th, the public hearing notice was published in the Daily Journal, Whittier Daily News. Next slide. So staff's recommendation to the Planning Commission is to approve the resolution for conditional use permit, case number PC-2022-0011-CUP with conditions, and find that the CEQA categorical exemption 15301 to be applicable to the proposed project. That concludes this item, and if you have any questions, I'm available.
Chair, I would like to just indicate we have three speakers who wish to address this item, so I will go ahead and call them in order if it's okay with you.
Yes, please do so.
Reina Diaz. Ms. Diaz, please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to address the Planning Commission, and your time will begin now. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Reina Diaz. I live at 532 North 19th Street. And good evening, Planning Commissioner Chair. I am a resident living on North Beverly Boulevard on 19th Street. And we are against, or I am against issuing the Sizzlers beer and wine license because it would only cause restaurant patrons to leave inebriated and unruly, creating an unsafe environment for the residents. The noise, such as people yelling, talking in front of our homes, playing music, will increase, and driving faster will increase, the risk of injuries and accidents. Trash is thrown on the front lawns, and streets are left with cups, wrappers, plastic bags and paper bags, face masks, and at times finding condoms thrown onto the curb. And this has increased since it was happening when the Sizzlers was open pre-pandemic. And we find lots of trash in front of our yard. People stepping on our landscape, not respecting, the work that we put into our landscape. Homeowners have to deal with restaurant patrons moving trash cans up to the curb or moving them aside to park their cars and walking on the landscape. We ask the city not to approve the license to sell beer and wine to Sizzlers at the restaurant, as the restaurant owners have not taken any responsibility to ensure that our streets remain clean and safe. And I ask the council to consider the following. If given the license, who is going to be monitoring the patrons when leaving the restaurant so that they do not urinate or defecate on trees or sidewalks? Who will clean up the trash, the defecation, and the vomit left on landscapes, lawns, sidewalks, and streets? How often will the streets be monitored by police? We know that alcohol intoxication is linked to injury, violence, and traffic crashes. So I am against issuing the beer and wine license being considered for Sizzlers. And as I was listening and reading to the proposal, they stated that there are 19 parking spaces on the Sizzlers property. So that means that there are 156 seats at Sizzlers. So most of those people are parking right in front of our homes. And they're not respecting our homes. They're not respecting our property. And we constantly have to go out there and pick up the trash. We're constantly having to, move aside for them because they don't like that our trash cans are out. They don't like that they can't park. It's not fair to the homeowners. We pay our taxes. We try to take care of our neighborhood, but we also want to take care of, there's children there that live in the area. There's the apartment building that have children as well. Thank you.
The next speaker is Rebecca Roman. Ms. Roman, please state your name and address for the record, and
My name is Rebecca Romero.
you will have 3
I live
minutes
in
starting now. Thank you.
509 and a half North 19th Street. I live right behind Sizzler. What this young lady was saying is true. They trash our front lawn, and they leave all kinds of trash on the side of where they go into the cars, on the curb, and the parking is horrible because I'm handicapped and I have to park a block and a half down or 2 blocks in order to get into my house. And there's elderly people where I live in our units, and they have to do the same thing too. So I'm here to let the commissioner know that we are having serious problems. And talking, and like she said, the radio loud in the morning. I'm still asleep at 7, and gets a little bit annoying. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. The next speaker is Virginia Napoli. Ms. Napoli, please state your name and address for the record, and you
My
will have
name is
30 minutes
Virginia
starting now. Thank you.
Napoli, 537 North 19th Street. And I just want to say, our street was so quiet, so tranquil, so peaceful. You hardly saw a car parked on the street. You hardly saw anyone even walking on the sidewalk. As soon as Sizzler opened, that changed dramatically. It has had a very negative impact on all of us. And parking is horrendous. They're stacked one on top of the other, and constantly coming and going and coming and going. And if we have family or friends who want to come over, they can't even find a place to park. And the parking is so tight on the street, it's extremely difficult and very dangerous for us to back out of our driveway, especially if there happen to be SUVs or big trucks. Our visibility is, we don't have any visibility. It's dangerous. And the customers who go there try to squeeze their car into an area that is not big enough for their car, which means that they then park in the red and frequently in past our driveway, blocking us. I've had to call the parking patrol before to have them, because we couldn't get in or out of our driveway. Sometimes I see that some of the cars are parked in red and that they're on the way to Sizzler, and I'll go out and ask them very politely, please move your car, you're in the red and you're blocking us. And they get very huffy and puffy when I tell them something like that. And after they do move it, I very politely say, thank you. They ignore me, they don't acknowledge me, they seem very upset. This has happened more than once, and these customers have been very rude to me. The trash cans get put on the sidewalk and many times not put back on the street. Athens isn't going to pick up our trash if our trash bin is on the sidewalk. And like I said, they just try to squeeze in as much as they can. Now, before Sizzler opened now, they were closed for 2 or 3 years. The previous management applied to the city saying that they would have their employees park across the street at the church. Well, that never happened. Their employees park in front of our house, 6, 8, 9, 10 hours at a time. I feel Sizzler is being very insensitive, lacking responsibility on their part to take care of the needs of the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair, at this time, it would be appropriate to allow the applicant to respond if they are in the audience.
Is the applicant here?
Hi, good evening. Thank you. My name is Krista Garitano. I'm a consultant with liquor license agents here. Here on behalf of the applicant, Sizzler. As Michael had mentioned, the location has been operating there for many years, over 50 years. They are known for their traditional American food, giving you very great flavors at affordable prices, and known for their endless salad bar, great food, steaks, and so forth. As you've come to know, this type of business model is one that you walk up to, you place your order, and you are seated, and the server will come and deliver your items to you. The request is for incidental alcohol sales, beer and wine. It does not encourage a bar type of atmosphere where one can come up and reorder drinks. It is a family-oriented, family-friendly place. The applicant themselves is a very responsible operator. They have over 20 ABC licenses all throughout California, all within different city jurisdictions. So they are very well versed in the ABC rules and regulations, as well as the city jurisdictions and operating within their own guidelines as well. None of their applications, none of their licenses have had any type of violations or disciplinary actions brought against them. Each of their employees are all trained under the RBS program, the Responsible Beverage Service Training Program with the ABC. They are, good community members all throughout California. They are here to enhance the community and to respectfully request your support in this application. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have as well.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may. First, a question for staff regarding the business. I think the zone is a C1 zone, and does that allow a restaurant by right? If I'm not mistaken, that would be correct, right?
I believe it's a C2 zone.
Oh, C2 zone.
C2, and a restaurant would be allowed by right, that's correct.
Okay,
I believe if there's a restaurant with a drive-through, then if it's within 100 feet of a residential use, it would require a CUP, but just a restaurant would be allowed, yes.
By right, thank you. Now, question for the applicant, because I think some of the comments and concerns which have been brought up are probably, I hate to say it, but are going to occur whether liquor is being sold or not, alcohol being sold or not. I had the misfortune of, living near Cunha Park for many years, and they don't serve alcohol at the park, unfortunately. I mean, the good thing, not unfortunately. And a lot of the problems that I had with parking were very similar to the ones raised by the neighbors of this business, where the people attending the park would move the trash cans on trash day to park, and they would not put them back. So we were, having to be stuck with the responsibility of monitoring that. Trash was also left, on our sidewalk. They would walk on our yard. Nothing to do with alcohol. That was just, that's how people are, unfortunately. So some of that you may not be able to control, and we understand that. But having an extra layer of the sale of alcohol could escalate some of those issues a little bit, more. So is there a plan to try to be more mindful of our neighbors, your neighbors, as far as having, number one, I think someone raised the issue of the parking, the street parking used by employees that was supposed to maybe have them park elsewhere. Is that still part of the approval for this CUP? I'm not sure if maybe staff knows that, or if that was a previous agreement, or if it's continued now, or if there's anything that can be done with that. But just overall, are there plans to, monitor the neighborhood and the street to make sure that there's no problems with the patrons leaving the restaurant? And I understand, I like Sizzlers, and I, frequent not just this one, but others, and I do, consume alcohol. I drink beer. But, Sizzlers is not a place where anybody goes and hangs out and watches, a football game or stays there for a long period of time. So I don't think that most patrons attending or, consuming your food there would be hanging out and drinking for hours. That's just not possible. I don't see it. But in a general sense, is there a plan to, again, monitor this situation to be good neighbors to the people that live in this area? Because I can understand the issue with parking and trash and, people being loud in the neighborhood. And maybe that's another, another issue that could be raised to the police, to a monitoring system within the city to control that, or maybe I think one of the conditions of approval does require that the applicant come back within a certain period of time to report on the status, and maybe, complaints filed that can be, studied, evaluated, and reconsidered to continue that approval? Sorry, I know it was a lot of things there.
No, I'm absolutely. I've gone over all the conditions with the applicant, and they're aware of the annual compliance. So they have no problem with coming back and, making sure everything is in compliance. And as far as the feedback that the city or, the community is giving, they do have, outdoor cameras, so they will be monitoring for loitering. As far as some of the things that are happening on the street, we can definitely keep an eye out for that if that's something that we have a manager on site for, at all times. So as far as what takes place at the year review, we can come back and, address it. Maybe we might need to get some, enforcement kind of monitoring the area, but you're right, this is not a place where people are coming to just kind of hang out and drink. It's for the food. It's, at most, one, drink being ordered at the register and being brought back. So as far as, it causing any type of, commotion that a bar would be, that's not what this type of establishment is about. So they are definitely welcome to, feedback and cooperating with the city to operate in harmony.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Good.
I think it would be appropriate to close the public hearing.
We'll go ahead and close the public hearing.
Yeah, unless the commissioners have any other questions for the applicant, or we have any other member of the public who wants to speak, then we can close the public hearing.
All right.
We're okay to close?
Thank you.
Yep.
Do we have a motion?
I have a question, Commissioner.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, if I may, thank you. And this is a question for staff, and maybe we can further clarify the condition of approval that does require a report back within a year and evaluating, the approval and evaluating any complaints that occurred within that time frame, and how those are handled just, for some of the commissioners here, but also for the members of the public that have, serious concerns regarding this review and approval process.
Absolutely. If I may?
Yes, please.
We can absolutely impose a condition that would require, it would be up to the commission's discretion, but we could do 2 years annual compliance review where they would have to come back to the commission, and then staff would provide an update on all of the conditions. I don't know if there's a...
Actually, if I may, yeah. So this particular project does have that condition that the project will be back before the Planning Commission for the first 2 years in operation when the ABC license is issued. Or actually when they do open the restaurant, right?
Do we have that condition number so that we can just for the record, because I didn't see it in here.
Yeah, so that would be condition number 7.
7?
Yes, says the applicant and operator shall prepare and submit an annual project compliance report. The report is due annually for the first 2 years of alcohol sales, starting 1 year from the date of issuance. The compliance report will be submitted to the director to demonstrate compliance with conditions of approval, and this report shall be submitted to the Planning Commission to either receive or file or take any other action as deemed necessary.
Perfect. So it looks like we were forward thinking here, which is good. So what this would entail is a full update on every single condition in this resolution to provide an update on compliance, including whether or not there were any code enforcement or parking enforcement or even police reports associated with this establishment, so that you would be aware of that when this came back to the commission.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have a roll call?
Yeah, so as for...
Are you going to say something? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh.
Do we have a motion?
Oh, is there some questions you would like to discuss or bring up? Maybe that will help address some of the concerns from the public, but also maybe some of your own personal concerns.
Well, with the comments from the neighbors, I mean, I'm hearing them because I am too a resident of Montebello and I live close to establishments, the new, the new project that we have on Whittier and 6th Street. So I am too familiar with, you know, I am very happy to see the city improving and having, you know, all these new things, but I also understand that it comes with, you know, some unfortunately negative people who don't respect, you know, your home. So I do also, like you, my colleague said, I do enjoy Sizzler. So I'm kind of, with question to staff, I understand that it's a year. Is there any way that we can do like 6 months or 3 months when it comes to review to see if any, because I feel like a year is kind of far off.
Right now,
Sizzler
it's
is
2
more
years, correct?
negative.
If I may, it's annually, so
It's
it'd be
annually.
annually for 2 years.
Okay.
We do have other conditional use permits in the city where we do quarterly compliance reviews. We could do, you know, it's at the discretion of the commission if you feel, whether it's 6 months, a quarter, for, you know, a certain amount of time. I think this would be the opportunity to amend the condition to include that.
Okay. Okay, yeah, well, do you have a, that will be it for me.
The quarterly or the 6 month?
Quarterly, just to begin, just because there are a lot of residents here who have complaints of how it is without the alcohol license. So I would think that it's in, you know, just to be considerate of the neighbors there, just to see what it would be with the quarterly review. If there's any more negative impacts, or if it's the same, then that means it doesn't really make a difference whether there's alcohol or not.
Question for staff then, is that, has that been a common practice quarterly, I think you might have alluded to, or is, you know, quarterly a little bit too aggressive and, you know, bit more work for us? Maybe it's not necessary, and I'm not questioning anything, I'm asking.
And I don't want to put staff on the spot, but typically we do our due diligence. On this particular site, did we look at previous police calls for service or code enforcement? And that would sort of indicate, you know, if there was an issue, then we would do a quarterly, right? In this case, do we know what that information revealed?
So we submit the entitlement through all the departments for routing, and police did not have any concerns at the time. But we can certainly look into if there are any numerous reports being filed.
Yeah. So the way it works is we forward all of these requests to various departments, including police, fire, public works, and then we get feedback. So if there was an issue, the police department would have noted that, and they did not. So.
Okay, thank you. Well, I and maybe this is for, my own personal appeal to Sizzlers and in general, because I have inquired about the sale of alcohol there, and I'm obviously a Montebello resident, and I'm a neighbor. I'm only 2 blocks away, and maybe I'm not as close as some of the neighbors that are complaining about the disturbance that takes place on their street. And I understand how that could be a serious concern and a serious, irritation to having to deal with people in general. As I stated, I live near the park, and people that tend to parties or barbecues at the park, honestly, I don't think I ever noticed anyone being inebriated after leaving the park, but yet they still left trash, and they were loud, and they moved my trash cans on trash day, because my trash day is Monday, so Sundays is usually a popular park day. And again, I don't know that the sale of alcohol is going to make a difference when it comes to people being disrespectful. I think that's something that we hopefully can change the culture here in Montebello in terms of respect. But I think it would help with having, code enforcement and the police be a little bit more involved in monitoring this to help our businesses, because we do want to be business friendly. As my colleague indicated, we like to see new things and new businesses, succeed in our city, and because, that creates revenue for our city, and it allows us the, opportunity to also improve our city in general by bringing tax revenue. But when we have unruly people that no matter whether there's alcohol being sold or not, they're unruly, then, we have to be more strict about, how people handle themselves in our city to make sure that they follow, the law and our rules. And again, that's something that would require a serious amount of work. But in my opinion, I don't think that the sale of alcohol is going to change the situation for people in general. But if we can somehow help coordinate the communication between our police department and code enforcement to have this, channel of communication between the neighbors to make sure that we achieve, the best, I don't know that I can say form of conduct, but, compliance with, normal human behavior, it would help the business and the neighborhood. So with having said that, I will make a motion to approve, conditional approval, PC-2022-011-CUP. And I guess that's resolution number 922.
Commissioner Cuevas, can you clarify whether your motion is to approve the resolution as presented, or will you be asking that amendments be made to the conditions of approval?
Oh, my apologies. Yes. With the amendment as indicated by Commissioner O'Malley, to have a quarterly report on the status of the situation there with the neighbors from our police department and code enforcement.
Thank you.
I will second that.
Roll call.
Commissioner Cuevas?
Aye.
Commissioner Lomeli?
Aye.
Chair Franco?
Aye.
That item is approved. Thank you. I'll defer to the city attorney to respond.
You're more than welcome to provide it, and we'll put it on the record, but just so that it's clear, this item has already been, an action has been taken on the item, if you're just aware of that. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, the consent calendar. Commissioner, this takes us to the consent calendar, which is item number 4. So item number 4 as a consent item, it consists of a request to extend the expiration date for 1 additional year for the applicant to complete the previously approved parcel map, which the commission already approved, for the property located at 1234 South Montebello Boulevard. This is a consent item, so there's no public hearing. So staff is here to answer any questions, but Michael will provide a quick update. He has been in communication with the applicant on this project. Go ahead.
Hello, Commissioner. So just a quick update on the item here. So previously it was an extension request for a tentative parcel map, which is number 0120, and it was to subdivide an existing property into 2 lots at 1234 South Montebello Boulevard. So resolution number 10-20, which is attachment A, section 4, subsection 1, indicates that this approval shall lapse and become automatically void if the privilege authorized is not utilized and recordation by the county of the final map is not obtained within 2 years from the date of this approval. The Planning Commission may extend this period for 1 year upon receipt of a written request by the applicant at least 30 days before the expiration date. So a written request was received from the applicant to extend the tentative parcel map, and the copy of the written request is in attachment B. If granted, the period of extension will be for 1 additional year, and the new expiration date will be on June 16th of 2023. So if you have any questions, I'm available for that.
Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may. So this is just a straight extension of time to complete the filing?
That is correct, yes. So right now, they had the tentative parcel map approved last year. So because the expiration date to have that finalized is coming up or has passed technically, they were requesting to extend the time frame that they can have that final map recorded.
Oh, recorded, thank you.
And just so that it was a condition of approval, correct? And it was for 1 year or 2 years?
Yes, so the condition of approval in the resolution, which is, it's under subsection 4 of the resolution. It gives the planning commission the authority to approve an extension for up to 1 additional year if the applicant makes that request. So they submitted that request.
So the subdivision or the split of the lots into 2, that is not, coming before us, just the extension of time?
Just the extension of time, correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Roll.
Sure, I'll take a, we have a motion.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the request to extend the expiration date for additional year for TMP number, TMP 01-20.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Roll call. Commissioner Cuevas?
Aye.
Commissioner Lameli?
Aye.
And Chair Franco?
Aye.
All right, that is approved. Thank you.
So that's it.
Orals.
Any orals?
I have just questions as with what was brought up today in regards to Sizzler. I know we do. So you guys said that, for example, for any like beer like licenses, approvals, we always do concerns and questions and observe with the police department as well as the fire department to see if there's any. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure because I do see that a lot of residents, when it comes to any of these, usually tend to, it tends to get a little out of hand now when it comes to like out in these meetings. So I just wanted to make sure. And that's pretty much it on my behalf.
Yeah, if I may, Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, just to, as I mentioned, when we get a request, we send out that request to all departments. And each department has the opportunity to review the request, and then they would review their records, and if there was an issue, we would be notified of that issue, and then we would obviously put that in the staff report or provide the backup. For example, I do recall when there was a conditional use permit for the 701 restaurant, and that file was very thick with complaints, and it was sort of a history. And we baked that into the report, and obviously they are in the, I think, 3rd round of their compliance. Are they quarterly as well, or they're annual? Annually. Yeah, so we provided the commission with an update, and I think we'll be doing one probably in the near future. In August, I think they're due. But in any event, we do keep track, and obviously we didn't note anything for Sizzler because I don't believe there is any issues, and we didn't hear of any. So. All right.
Yeah, no, that's a good issue to discuss, and the reason I brought up because every time there's a business, we want businesses, but we don't want them near our house. I mean, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason I brought up the example of the park is because it's true. People are dirty and they don't do, they don't have good conduct. It isn't only because of the alcohol, although the alcohol can escalate the level of misconduct even further if, given the opportunity. So it is important to also discuss, the, code of conduct that we, aspire to adhere to here in Montebello, or we should try to, aspire to adhere to. And it's not the easiest thing in the world because being on the planning commission well, in the past, it was a common thing. We all wanted businesses, oh, when are we going to bring businesses to Montebello? And then a business comes forward and, oh, no, not in my backyard, not next door to me. I mean, unfortunately, this is a small city and we're all going to be affected somehow, some way, in some fashion near where we live because our city is not that big. But if we do want some of these, expansion, some of these businesses that we all aspire to, we complain about, oh, why do I have to go to Alhambra to eat dinner? And then the businesses want to come to us and we say, no, we don't want it, on the other side of my block or, as neighbors. And it is a growing pain that we must face and admit, to somehow be able to adjust. And it's not easy, it's not easy. But besides that comment, I wanted to also, while our new commissioner is being trained, that also, because the previous chair did not know that she could make a motion and second a motion and proper order of approving items. And so I'm not saying that you wanted to abstain or not make any motions tonight. Maybe you did know you could do that, but that's fair to say, right, and clarify, because I felt the pressure on this side today.
Yes. So, I mean, typically, right, the chair would, ask for a motion. But yes, absolutely. The chair does have the ability to make the motion. That's any commissioner here would be able to do that. So, absolutely, you do have that ability. And it's a weird dynamic because obviously we have barely a quorum. We have a vacancy, and so it's obviously puts the pressure.
Well, I didn't mean to put the pressure on you. A little bit of added pressure. I was trying to take it off of me.
Yeah.
I noticed. I was fine with everything, but just to clarify in the future that you are allowed to make a motion or second a motion if you would like to, so that you don't have the other commissioners decide on everything in terms of making motions.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
And just to address the commissioners tonight, I usually don't. I do recommend some sort of a training and definitely an ethics training, which is required for commissioners and officials. I don't think we've done one for this commission in a while. So maybe we can.
I think it's every 2 years, right?
It's every 2 years. You do have to be certified especially for ethics, but I think just a general overview of some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to the meetings, I think would be helpful. So reach out definitely to Director Palombi so we can put something on the books, a date that would serve everybody's schedule. I need that as well. But no,
it happens to all of us, honestly.
Yeah.
Like tomorrow, I'm gonna be presented to council, like they're terrified, and I'm like, why do? I've actually walked in here during the day and just like talk just to get comfortable, but it's completely normal. Well, I don't know if we're kind of loose here, but we use valerian root in our department. I know Monica, it's a natural, it just calms you down, and it's good because your heart starts racing as you're gonna walk up to the podium, and it's like that fear of the microphone, and it's kind of helps to calm things down.
You got an extra?
We do. We have a couple of bottles. It's all herbal though, yeah.
Hey.
Slide it down.
Slide it down.
And I'd like to note that at no way we are recommending or promoting any type of
That's right.
vitamins or just on the record.
Oh, sorry.
But I think training for the commissioners would be appropriate because I think we had another incident with the previous former commissioner where a situation kind of occurred that was kind of out of line, that she wasn't, well versed in influence the way things work in terms of the Brown Act and things of that sort.
No, it's very important. I've actually attended the ethics training. Arnold presented it, and it's very helpful. And it is required, so we should definitely make sure that everybody's current.
So if you haven't attended, we'll set that up. Maybe we'll coordinate something in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think if it's not on the books already, we usually, our office will hold it, and it'll not only include the commissioners, but the council as well, and a lot of the department heads, because you are required by law to be certified every 2 years.
Okay. So with that in mind, are we good to adjourn?
We are.
Okay. The time is, what, 7:40? Meeting is adjourned. We'll go ahead and do the first one.
Congratulations, you did well on your first meeting.